Hi, I'm Scott. Welcome back to Synth Stuff. Before we get started, there's something I need to deal with. This is a problem that's cropped up in the comments of many of the videos that I've posted in the last couple of years, and this same type of comment keeps coming up over and over again, and some of those comments have gotten really nasty, so we're going to deal with that right now. Alright, I got the message, guys. No more hair comments in the videos, alright? I got it. I took care of the problem. Let's get on with this video. The wonderful and talented Rachel K. Collier put out a video the other day, and she toured through her brand new studio. By the way, if you haven't checked out her album, go buy it. It is such a good album, so creative and different. And it's great to support independent artists like her. In any case, she's been building a new studio for some time and she toured through it. Then I started thinking, you know what? It's been 2 years just about since I built this studio, and I did a studio tour at that time, but that was 2 years ago and quite a bit has changed since then. So I thought, you know what? Let's do a video where I just tour through. You can see what I got, why I have it, what it does, and how it all works together. We'll start over here with the nerve center of everything. I've built my studio around the Behringer X32 digital mixer. Because it has 32 inputs and outputs, it allows me to connect all my synthesizers and devices all the time. I don't ever have to patch things. Everything always works. All the gain staging for each of the synths is already done and saved in here. A couple of synths with a noise floor. There's a very subtle gate that I've enabled on the channels that need it. So this is basically my audio interface, but audio interface plus. It can do so much more. It routes audio all over the place. It does things like route audio onto buses that then go to sends so that I can use the audio input on the Fantom and the Modal X and other synths that have audio inputs, and I can route the audio from any synthesizer to any of the inputs. So if I want to, obviously I have a microphone right here which I use mostly for narration and voiceover, but if I want to use a vocoder in the Fantom, I can just route this microphone into the Fantom. Or if I want to use a vocoder in the Montage, I can do that. Or if I want to play something on the Hydrasynth and have that go through the effects in the Montage, I can do that because it's all routed on buses in here. And of course, all channels are then routed into my DAW PC where I use Cubase, and so I can do all the recording and so on in Cubase. You might notice I have a second Yamaha mixer over here. This is just my monitoring. Basically, this is what comes out of my studio monitors. So obviously the main out of this mixer goes into the Yamaha mixer, but things like I have a little Alexa right there. I've got turntables and so on. Just stuff I want to listen to, not necessarily record, goes into here. So this is like my monitor mixer. Down here, this is not here the last time we did this, little Behringer Model D. Basically, it's a clone of a Mini Moog without a keyboard. I don't use this as often as I should, simply because I have to set it up, route a keyboard to it and so on. I need to use that more. Below that is the MioXL. I did an entire video on this. This is my MIDI router. It routes everything in the studio to everything else. It allows me to connect multiple USB and DIN MIDI devices into the DAW. So the DAW basically communicates with this, and it communicates with all the different synthesizers. And not only that, it's on the network. So if I wanted to, I could have a laptop upstairs on Wi-Fi, connect to this over Wi-Fi, and sequence a synthesizer down here, or I could play down here and record it upstairs. I mean, I don't know why you would do that, but you could. It's on the network and it's all connected together, as is the X32. Same thing with the X32. I have tablets so that I can operate it remotely from anywhere in the house, but mostly what I do is I'll go down to that side of the studio where there's synthesizers down there. I can make adjustments on the mixer from down there without having to run back and forth, which is great. And because it's on the network, if I wanted to, I could go upstairs and yes, I could operate this mixer from well, technically anywhere. I could operate it from another country if I VPN'd into my house here. Down here is a patch panel. I don't typically use it. basically it just routes all the synthesizers come in through the patch panel and then to the X32, and then the outs from the X32 do the same thing. They go from here to wherever. If I ever need to, if I'm testing a synthesizer or I'm just doing some work where I just need an audio input, I can just say, well, I'm going to override this JD-800 and now it's going to use this audio. For whatever reason, I could say the audio from the Summit, I want it actually to bring it in on the Opsix or whatever. So it basically gives you the flexibility of connecting anything to anything without having to go around behind synthesizers and unplug things. And then at the bottom, I have a Behringer headphone amplifier. I've got 4 things plugged into it. I've got my two studio headphones. One is my old standby MDR 750s, the Sonys I've used for years. And then I got a pair of Sennheiser HD6s here, 6XX. Those are my mixing ones. Over here, I've got an extension cord, and that is when I am doing interviews or if I'm playing live, right? I have my in-ears, so that actually allows me to plug my in-ears in and then move around the studio. And then this one here actually runs down to another set of headphones at the back end there where I have a vocal mic for recording. That's for monitoring when you're recording. Next, we have my main synths here. By far, the one I use more than anything else is the Montage M. I have a Montage M7. I had originally a Modal X7, then I sold it and bought a Montage 7. And then when the Montage M7 came out, I snapped one up as fast as I could. This is, I love this thing. It does absolutely everything. People always ask, if you could only have one, what would it be? Well, it would have to be the Montage because it does everything. I could do music production just having this synthesizer. And of course now there's the ESP version where it's a plug-in version of this synthesizer as well, which is not fully baked, it's not fully functional yet, but it will be soon later on this summer. Yes, I do love the Hydrasynth, but if I had only one, this would have to be it. Just so many sounds. All right, I could go on for hours just playing the Montage M7, and I do. Next up, the Summit. The Summit is kind of a modern digital version of maybe a Prophet. If I didn't have a Summit, I'd probably have a Prophet in here, but the Summit I think does more. It doesn't sound quite like a Prophet, but it's close. It is a hybrid digital analog synthesizer, has wavetables, analog filters and envelopes and so on, and the best effects I've ever heard in a synthesizer. All right, that's not a very good. See if I can find something analogs. I don't know, it's kind of cool. The good old System-8. Why do I still have the System-8? I do love it. It's so simple and easy to use. The thing is, everything that the System-8 does, except for the System-8 native engine, I can do in the Fantom. But with the System-8, it has all the knob function controls, which you don't get on the Fantom. Yes, it does have a Juno-106 and it has a Jupiter 6 in it, and or a Jupiter 8 rather. This is, yeah, it's a Jupiter 8. I'll never have a Jupiter 8, but I have a System-8. That said, I bought this because I thought, you know what, this will be my Jupiter 8, but I hardly ever use the plugouts in it. I always use the System-8 native engine. That's what I find myself using more than anything on this. I like the System-8. I don't think it's going anywhere. And of course it's ACB, so the sounds of its emulations are far and above better than the Zencore. Of course now you can get ACB on the Fantom as well, so I always say I won't sell this one, and I probably won't, but maybe someday, we'll see. Next on the top we have the Korg Opsix. Didn't really want one. They were selling them so cheap I couldn't not buy it. It makes FM programming easy. I have played with it a bit with some of the different... these are all sequences in here. Oh, that's nice. And they all have a bunch of echo in them. Why are these all sequenced? I gotta say, after playing the Montage, now I'm playing the crappy key bed on this synth. It really is, it feels cheap and nasty. Kind of like the Wavestate. Same key bed, same form factor. It's a real shame that they saddled these synthesizers with such a miserable key bed. Ooh, that's cool. This is a soundtrack monster. If I was doing soundtracks, I definitely would have one of these. I really need to use this more than I do. I end up always going to the Montage, but it needs some more love. Down below it, we have the Cobalt8x. I do love this synthesizer. I love the sounds it can create. I especially love the digital filters in it. I wish it had more mod matrix slots, but overall, it's a great synthesizer. I really hope Modal makes it as a company and continues making synthesizers like the Cobalt. Over here, the Microfreak. Unashamedly and unapologetically digital, it sounds like nothing you've ever heard before. The key bed takes a bit of getting used to. Honestly, I play this usually from the Hydrasynth. I'll just MIDI it because this is not my favorite key bed, and it does respond to polyphonic aftertouch. Now we get into the big iron next to the Montage. This is my favorite synth, the Hydrasynth Deluxe. You can make it do just about anything. It can sound crazy digital. It can sound warm and analog. The engine in it is so flexible, it is a sound designer's dream. I'm just picking sounds at random here. I've done so many videos on the Hydrasynth, and I'm sure there will be more because I love this thing. And then we have the Fantom down here, a synthesizer I had no intention of buying, but it came up for sale and it was way too cheap and I couldn't not buy it. It has been upgraded to the EX, and I actually really like this thing. I use it fairly often. The vocoder in this, I did just recently a video on vocoders. I use the vocoder in this all the time. This is another one like the Montage where it can do just about anything. Synthesizer, sampler, it does everything. Another one that I'll probably never sell. Another Fantom, but this one's a Fantom-06. This is my live board, and yeah, so I typically have splits and things in here. Like here's a pad and some piano. Oh, I guess the split's right there. Normally, I would have this MIDI controller on the top rack. This is MIDI'd into the Fantom, so it's kind of used as a second manual, like on an organ. And I just have this set up in the Fantom to play different sounds. So it's basically giving me another Fantom, but without having to pay for another Fantom. And it's lightweight, and you can just throw it around. Right now, I have the Fantom on the top rack, and then I have something else on the bottom rack that I'm not allowed to talk about right now, so we won't focus on that at all. Then we come over here to the mostly vintage rack, all except for the GAIA 2. It is not vintage. The GAIA 2 is a recent acquisition. I actually really like this thing. I'm not using it enough, but I think I may end up using this because my old SH-101, the GAIA, original GAIA, I used live as well. So I think this one may be a live board because it's small and compact and it sounds good. What is that sound? more keys. I keep going farther down where there's no keys. I wish this GAIA had 61 keys. The 37 or whatever this is, it's just not enough. Over here, SH-101. It is a fully functioning SH-101 with a Tub-A-Tech upgrade in it, so it has sequencer and extra envelopes and separate filter and envelope envelopes, and does all kinds of good stuff. Oh, and MIDI as well. Other than the invisible upgrade you can't see, it is a perfectly normal SH-101, does everything an SH-101 does, sounds exactly like an SH-101 because it is one. I actually restored this. There's a video I'll put a link to in the description below of when I actually did this restoration. Below it, the beloved Juno-106. You know, I have the Juno-106 emulation on the System-8, but I always end up coming over here to play the real thing. I don't know, it just sounds better. I don't know why. I know I've recorded both together, and if you listen to both of them together, they sound the same. I can't tell the difference really. But I just love playing the real thing. The pads on the Juno-106 just sound so good. This is another one that I did a restoration on, and yes, I have a full video series on the restoration of this one. And yes, it is also modified. It has a Kiwi 106 board in it, so all kinds of stuff, sequencers, arpeggiators, all the stuff that Roland didn't think to put into this one, but it now has. Down here, the mighty JD-800 from Roland. Four layers, so each sound is 4 layered, multi-timbral. That's how they did things like that back in the late 80s. The keys are a little bit yellowed. I did what I could when I did the restoration on this one. Yes, this is another one that I did a restoration of. Links in the description below. Has all kinds of fantastic sounds in this. And there is, see if I remember where it is. Massive pad, I love that one. Crystal Rhodes. There's a really great guitar. There it is, guitar. So many songs used that sound in the 90s. And then down here, the Korg Polysix. This was the very first synthesizer I ever bought when I was, I think, 18, 17 years old back in the 80s. Love this thing. Again, it's been modified and restored. It is now a Kiwi 6, new walnut case on it, has MIDI, sequencers, arpeggiators, all that good stuff. Love this thing. This is never going anywhere. And the last synthesizer, one that has actually not been shown on my channel before. This is a Behringer MS-1. It's basically a clone of the SH-101. It has a sequencer in it. And it does all the things the SH-101 does. It sounds pretty much like it, and I didn't intend to get this at all. I got it at a severe discount that I had no reason to buy this, but what can you do when it's given to you basically almost for free? So it sits here and I never use it. I don't know. I did get the guitar strap and thing on it, bender, but you can switch between bend or whatever. You can put, just like the SH-101, you can switch the bender between VCO or filter. So you can do all kinds of different things with it. Maybe it'll be a live thing. You can play like a live lead. Maybe, I don't know. I'll find a use for it someday or sell it. We'll see. And here's something else I haven't shown in my studio before. I have a pair of 1200s and an old Radio Shack mixer, which people laugh at, but this is a fantastic mixer. It's really great. I bought this back in the 80s and it still works like new. I've had these turntables, let's see, I think I bought these in 1987. And yep, they still work like brand new because they are Technics. Just, they never break, they never go down, they just work perfectly. Exactly what you'd expect from a SL1200. Over there you can see my RC505 loop box. Don't use that anywhere near as much as I should. I've talked about it before. Really, I use that just for coming up with ideas. I have never done any production work on it. I'll just play it. Sometimes I'll use it as a drum box because it has drum sounds in it. And I'll just make, hey, it's a drum machine and I can just play to it. Or maybe I'll just play something, get a bass line and just get some ideas down. And then sometimes I'll come up with something that I like and then it never goes anywhere out of there. It doesn't get dumped anywhere. I'll then use my DAW to recreate what I just came up with, you know, messing around on the loop box. So that's it. That's my 2024 studio tour. If you have any questions, comments, I'm sure people are going to have questions as why do you have this? Why do you do that? Why do you have blah, blah, blah? I always get those. I love it. So bring on the questions. I'll answer anything I can. Maybe you're looking to set up your own studio and you're wondering why I set something up the way I did. I'll hopefully be able to answer that. I kind of breezed over some things like the MioXL MIDI router because I've done entire videos on much of this stuff before. I mean, the System-8, I have a video dedicated to it. Hydrasynth, Cobalt8, I mean, all these synthesizers I've done, especially the Summit as well. All these synths, I've done entire videos just on that synthesizer. So if you do have a question about one of these synthesizers, I'd encourage you to look through my channel because I do have huge, long, in-depth reviews on many of these synthesizers. And if you do have a question you don't think is covered, hey, go ahead and ask it in the comment section below. If you liked this video, if you had a good time going through my studio with me, hey, click like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell. It really helps me out when you do that, and you get notified every time I post another video. That's it for this video with me and my new hair. Thanks for watching.